The Casagrande family are a part of the Loud House universe, and it was insane that the Casagrande was the first cartoon spin-off series that gets to have a movie. Okay, well, back in 2023, there's a DreamWorks movie called The Teenage Kraken, and believe it or not, both of these movies are quite similar to each other. And this is why I am making a today comparison video between the Teenage Kraken and the Casagrande film. Okay, the story for the Teenage Kraken is that the Kraken and the mermaid had a long-time rivalry. Well, our main character, Ruby Gullman, accidentally went into the water and triggered her Kraken form, and, well, I'm pretty sure you guys know the rest if you watch the movie. The story of the Casagrande movie, Bulgari is through from being smothered by her parents, so she did something what kids would never do these days and kill everyone, and then we followed our main character, Ronnie-Ann. Ronnie-Ann has plans, but turns out her family has plans to go to Mexico, so they end up going to Mexico, and that disappoints Ronnie-Ann. But then we get to the second part of the plot, which you guys know the rest by now if you have seen the movie. Well, I gotta say, both of these movies are well paced with the story. Well, except it just felt short. Well, the Casagrande movie is an hour and a half, and the Teenage Kraken is 5 minutes a little longer. Okay, despite the Casagrande being shorter, there's something about the Teenage Kraken's plot that doesn't make sense. Well, Ruby and his... her. Okay, so Ruby and her family has been hiding, keeping their secret identity as Kraken, and I'm just going to call that bullcrap here, because if they're hiding from the fact that Ruby family are Kraken, then why people didn't notice that they have blue skins? Like, they literally have blue skin, and you can notice that. Well, if the Krakens had, like, a Mystique ability to yoke human, just like Mystique from the X-Men, then that would definitely make sense. But no, instead, they just keep the blue skin and just walk around all over the city, and the people in the Teenage Kraken universe are too stupid to notice that they have blue skin. Well, even one of the humans questioned that she has blue skin, but even he questioned that, Ruby just said that they're Canadian and these stupid humans just bought it. Okay, I get it is an animated kids movie, but I just can't stand this logic. Because we all know that Canadian are not blue. Well, the Casagrande movie never had a complicated logic. It just tells a story of the parent letting go their kids a bit and letting them spread their wings. And that is a pretty deep, clanging story for a kids film. Well, Ronnie-Ann's whole character development is wanting to do her own thing and not be smothered all the time. Well, much like SpongeBob is trying to prove that he can be independent from the first SpongeBob movie. Yeah, now that I am talking about the story of the Casagrande, the story for the Teenage Kraken doesn't feel like a story at all. It was just more like a objective. of a teenage girl trying to do whatever it works out cliche. Well, the Casagrande movie has serious family stuff, but for the Teenage Kraken, it felt like a cliche high school movie, like Spider-Man Homecoming, mixed with Freaking Friday or some stuff. So yeah, it is not even close. The movie with the superior story is the Casagrande movie. Okay, Ruby and her family are the characters in this movie, and some side characters that I just literally forgot that they're in the film. Well, Captain Hook, or whatever his name is a Kraken hunter, and I thought he was pretty interesting. Well, until he didn't have enough screen time. Well, the characters of the Casagrande don't have much to do either in this movie, and only the mom has more development this time around. Okay, I know Ronnie Yan is the main character of the Casagrande, but Bobby is also the main character in the Loud House spinoff, and nowadays Bobby was just completely sidelined. Even in the movie he is, but without a doubt, the Casagrande has a far superior characters, because they at least had some character development of Ronnie Yan and her mom. Well, for the Teenage Kraken, the characters barely had any development. Like, the Teenage Kraken has better pacing, but they didn't even have time to make me care, and this is why I'm easily going to give it to the Casagrande. Okay, the villain in the Teenage Kraken is the mermaid, Chelsea. Okay, when I watched this movie, well, I thought Ruby and Chelsea are going to end up becoming best friends, and then the Kraken and the mermaid rivalry will just finally end. I mean, that would be a great idea to develop the characters, but unfortunately, Ruby and Chelsea never became friends at the end of the movie, and they just use the villain manipulation cliche. So yeah, I thought Ruby and Chelsea relationship was a bit wasted after the fact that they bonded. Well, as for Ronnie Yan and Bugatti, well...
If you write haha, it means you acknowledge the text, but you want to end the conversation. Much like I'd like to end this conversation now. So, haha. Wow. Just wow.
The relationship between Ronnie Yan and Bugatti just felt so rushed. So right when Bugatti betrays Ronnie Yan, well, I thought this movie is going to be boring in the third act of the film, but then the Casagrande did something which I wish that the Teenage Kraken should have done. They just added a second plot twist with a second villain named Consumo, and then Ronnie Yan and Bugatti, well, unlike Ruby and Chelsea, they actually become best friends and work together to stop the real villain. And I was so shocked how they made the plot twist predictable to unpredictable, and that impressed me. Well, although Ruby and Chelsea bonding moment had more time, because Bugatti and Ronnie Yan bond just felt rushed overall, but the Casagrande movie did make up for it by actually making them friends and not making the bonding moment between the characters felt like a waste. Mermaid and Kraken doesn't have to be enemies forever. You can just change the script and have Mermaid and Kraken live together. I mean, we could have gotten a much stronger movie otherwise, because I have watched other movies that has did that. Well, the Teenage Kraken may have better pacing for the characters' betrayal relationship, but the the Casagrande movie did have a better ending for these characters becoming friends, so I just quite prefer that. And on top of that, Ronnie Yan has redeemed Bugatti, making her realize that her parents cared for her, and it was a terrific scene right there. And not to mention, Consumo was insane. Like, he was crazy powerful. Like, oh my god. Oh, and don't worry guys, we will talk more about the action with Consumo to the action segment. Okay, well, I have to admit, I like Chelsea. Well, I probably like her better than Ariel from Little Mermaid, but she could have had potential to redeem herself, just like Bugatti did from the Casagrande movie. But she didn't, and this movie, The Teenage Kraken, has come out very predictable. So the movie with the superior villain is undoubtedly the Casagrande movie. The action in both of these movies does not come until the climax of the movie. The action in both of these movies was a bit too underwhelming. Like, it was slow, and there's no impact in the fight. It was just boring. When I finished watching the movie, I just immediately forget what happened in the action. So yeah, the action scene in Teenage Kraken was weak. As for the action in the Casagrande movie, well, the action was way better in this movie. Like, it was a lot going on. It's bigger, creative, and faster, and the sound effects were pretty loud too. Okay, well, there's some of the action part that looks like it is made by AI, but I'm willing to go past that. So yeah, I am not even surprised. Not even a little. Teenage Kraken was just so slow and uninspired, and is pretty forgettable. Well, I love the action in the Casagrande movie. Like, it was very insane, a lot more fun. It's like I am watching Dragon Ball Z in the Casagrande episode. Like, seriously, they just gave the first Loud House movie a run for their money with this kind of action. I think you guys have saw that coming by now. The movie with the superior action at the climax is the Casagrande all the way. Okay, you guys seem to be under the impression that the Teenage Kraken didn't do any good, or it was just the sake of making money since Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Well, regards the issue, the Casagrande was something that I expected. I had a feeling it would surpass the Loud House movie, but it did. Well, me personally, I think the first Loud House movie from 2021 has a better plot and better pacing, but they were able to do something crazy with the Casagrande movie, which the other kids' movie that is like the Casagrande movie doesn't have the guts to do, and I love that. Well, in the beginning of the movie, they just put a SpongeBob cameo into this, and I was so happy that they did that. Okay, overall, I enjoyed the Teenage Kraken, but at the same time, it was just one of these generic DreamWorks movie that I just watched. And this is actually embarrassing that the Casagrande did better with their plot twisting, because the Casagrande is a Nickelodeon movie, and Teenage Kraken is DreamWorks, and DreamWorks should be embarrassed that they didn't do the plot twisting right like Nickelodeon did with the Casagrande. Well, the Casagrande movie is basically like the first Loud House movie, well, except it is 10 times better. Although they may have the same plot as Teenage Kraken, well, except that they did it better than Teenage Kraken. Well, the Teenage Kraken was basically like Luca mixed with Turning Red, another uninteresting Disney movie that I should craft in comparison to this. Anyway, it's time for the scores. The Teenage Kraken gets a low 6 out of 10, and the Casagrande movie gets an outstanding 8 out of 10. Yeah, I am not very surprised about this outcome. Well, since I am making my first ever YouTube film that involve the Loud House characters, well, my opinion in both of these movies would probably change that for the better.